Welcome to Mindset Mastery Moments, the best growth mindset podcast recognized by Million Podcasts and ranked as a top mindset podcast by FeedSpot. We're proud to be in the top 1% on Listen Notes. Join Dr. Alisa White as we explore powerful insights and strategies to elevate your mindset. Let's dive in.
Confidence isn't just how you walk into a room. It's how you show up before you even say a word. My guest today knows exactly how to capture the kind of presence. He's trusted by executives, law firm partners, and even championship athletes to help them project leadership through the lens. Welcome to Mindset Mastery Moments. I'm Dr. Alisa White, your number one mindset disruptor, and today we're talking about confidence, coaching, and the image you project to the world. Our guest today is Mr. James Stewart. He is a professional photographer who specializes in helping executives and top performers show up with confidence. Trained by sport and refined under master photographer Peter Hurley, James brings a performance mindset to every shoot. Over the past decade, he's built a national personal brand photography business trusted by senior leaders and elite creatives. He's here to share how confidence is coached, not posed. James is so phenomenal. He's got an amazing backdrop today. So if you're listening to us, you might want to hop over to the YouTube channel and check it out. He is a headshot and brand photographer in the beautiful state of New York. And they've got fall leaves, but I'm going over fall leaves. He's talking about the weather in Arizona. James, we welcome you to Mindset Mastery Moments. I'm so glad you're here today. Tell us who you are and what you do in your own words, why you do it.
Well, thank you so much for the intro, Dr. Alisa. I'm so glad to be here. And if you don't mind, I just want to start off by saying, just to your audience, I have, listened to a bunch of your podcasts and definitely watched some YouTube shorts. And I just wanted to say to everybody, it really resonated with someone like me. So I would encourage everybody else to go out there, check it out. And if you haven't, definitely leave a 5-star review like I did, because you're just going to get so much out of this. So I just wanted to say that before we started. You're welcome. I appreciate the amazing introduction. You're making me blush a little, but I am James Stewart. And like you said, I'm a headshot and brand photographer, and I'm based in Manhattan. And I help professionals, executives, high performers show up with a headshot or their branding images that, like you said, I want them to speak before they even have a chance to open their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe a lot of people, whether they know it or not, or aware of it or not, are making judgments, decisions based on what could be just like the one image of you before, as they're getting into research or trying to make a decision to do business with you. So I want that headshot to be the best one. I want it to have you, looking as confident as possible, as present as possible, and as approachable as possible. And I believe the way that I go about it helps bring that out. So that's who I am and what I do right now.
Exactly.
Based here in Manhattan.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I'm telling you, in the line of business, in the line of work that I'm in, it's only recently in the last couple of years, I used to be like, well, I just want to help people transform their mindsets. But in the last maybe 2 years, I'm learning and now becoming in this season more focused on understanding that no matter how great I am and how great a message, how much transformation I can bring, when people look at my brand and they look at my website, excuse me, and a photo of me and the essence of my presence, that's what's going to speak way before they ever even read my bio, right? And you say that confidence is coached, not posed. And that's a powerful reframe for me. How did you arrive at that philosophy in your work? And tell us what that even means.
Well, I guess, I started off shooting sports, live events, and working with athletes. And a lot of people always came to me after we would do some sort of creative shoot or a portrait. And they would come to me, and people I never even worked with would just say, hey, I need new headshots. And it always kind of made me wonder, because I never really advertised that I did it. I was very heavily based in sports. And if you looked at my previous websites, nothing would have indicated that I really was a headshot photographer. And I always tried to take it, but um, I don't know. I just was never really satisfied. I always thought like in the realm of my images, they could use some work. And I did a lot of people that I had known, either in business
Hmm.
or personally. And I like, when I would look at it, I was just like, it's not a bad shot, but I'm like, that's not Sarah or that's not John that I know. It's just not like popping the way that they are in real life. And,
Wow.
I did that for a few years. And then, now I'm in New York City. I knew of Peter Hurley as being one of the most famous headshot photographers in the country and maybe even the world. And he's right here in New York. And I had an opportunity to learn from him in a workshop. And part of what we did was he took a headshot of us. And we did that in the very beginning of the workshop. And it just, I was one of those people, like, I'm sure maybe you or some people that but I find a lot of people are like dreading a headshot, dreading being in front of a camera. And that includes me, when I get in front of the camera,
Right.
I kind of freeze up. And like, when I look at these
I
pictures,
don't
I'm
know
like, I
what to
can't believe,
do. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, I'm a photographer. I should know a little bit about how to look. So, but, back to doing that training, all the things that I just said came through to me like the second I started seeing the images after I was coached by this other photographer. So
Yeah.
right there, it kind of hit me like, okay, I'm in the right place to learn how to make confidence, approachability, and a heavy presence in these pictures. It's such a
Right.
step up from what I was doing and what I'd seen. And I don't want to say that, what I'd seen and some of the other things are bad. I don't want to make it seem like it's like a
Like
bad,
it was bad. Yeah.
but this just stood out so much more to me. And it like was one of the first times I really liked a photo of myself, to say that. And it
Wow. A
was just
headshot.
such, yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess it really kind of made me, I felt like that's what I feel like and look like. And then I see this image and I'm like, that kind of like connects with that.
Wow.
Whereas like some of the other images, it's like, oh, cool. This is me with my friends, or this is just like a single shot of me. But this shot, I guess, I don't know what it was, but it really clicked with me. And then that's kind of when I decided like, I really want to
You
pursue
wanna
this
do this
more,
for others. Yeah.
because
Wow.
I just think like, I always think, and this, probably has a good, this is a good reason why I partly like love listening to all the bits and the shows that you have, because I always just assume like I'm different. Like I always just assume like, all right, it's just you. You can't. You just don't know how to pose, or you just don't know how to like look
Right.
when a picture's going.
Right,
But then
right.
I like talk with all these other people, and I see like we all kind of think those same things. So that also clicked with me that like, okay, like this
It's
is
a
not an
way of
easy
how
thing to
we're it's
do.
how we're thinking. Right. It's not just straightforward. And the
No,
reason we don't like it, there's a reason why we don't like it, and a reason why we feel so awkward in the moment of doing it, because there's a mindset behind it.
exactly. Similar to like doing these podcasts,
Right.
prepping, and I still now I've done it before, and I've been on video before for things, and it's just like similarly, like I know a lot of people like just it's weird to hear your voice when you're not used to hearing it
Yes.
on video. It's the
Even
same. I think it's
people
sort
would
of the
not
same
believe
thing.
it, even though I record at least 3 episodes a week and I do some solo work and recording. I'm not the biggest fan of hearing my own voice. But here's the thing, what I could tell you, I like it better because I'm not working on being or saying anything, or I'm just being me. But then I'm like, "Man, girl, why did you say that like that?" You know? You're critiquing it. Like, I don't think the whole world needs to hear all that. That's just extra. And I'm judging myself, right? So we
Yeah.
struggle with that. So when you came to so I think I looked at some of your work initially. I think I saw some stuff online. What I'm curious is for you to I'm on the hook now. So what did you learn is one of the biggest secrets behind prepping or getting into a headshot session?
For me as the photographer, I guess there's a lot to think about technically with 3 to 4 lights, your camera, a computer. There's just a lot technically that has to go right before you even like speak to the person or even get them behind the lights. And even
Right.
then, you're kind of tweaking the whole time. For me, this really very like my mind is going way faster than I am, and I'm ahead of myself a lot of time. And this really made me slow down and pace myself. And similar to like this interview, I'm thinking similarly. My thing that I'm working on too is speaking. When I
It's
look back, not just hearing my voice, but hearing all the ums and the pauses and the awkwardness. Just
right.
like
We have to
it's
listen to
hard and
catch it, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And just similarly to the speaking, like my mind in photographing is also charging very fast. So for me, it was slowing down. And I think that helps
Wow.
a lot. I always expected that and they do, a lot of them sometimes do not have a lot of time to give you. So I'm always
Right.
kind of like trying to be aware of their time because these people are, executives, C suite
Yeah, they're high
people. Like
profile.
this is,
Yeah,
yeah, they got
athletes.
stuff
Yeah,
to do.
professional
And
athletes. Yeah, they just
same
wanna
thing, like
they wanna
not
come
a
in
lot
and
of
create
time.
magic and leave. Yeah, yeah.
So for
Wow.
me, slowing everything down just sort of let all the things I learned kind of like sink in and come back while I'm trying to set everything up. And then it's similar with working with the person. Like now we've got the technical aspects down. It's almost, that's like as difficult as it is, it's almost harder to the coaching part. And
Yeah.
that's sort of a lot of what changed besides the technical aspects of it was the interaction. And I think I don't want to say the lighting is not important because it's almost everything, but the interaction literally is almost everything too. So I feel
Wow.
like in a lot of these shots, you can kind of get away, not that you go for it, but people will overlook what a photographer sees as less than maybe perfect or what they were shooting for lighting when there's a great expression. You just like I would take that over a little underexposure or a little color being off. I would take like an awesome expression over that any day. I'd rather see that
Right.
than a perfectly lit no expression or not your like presence coming through. So those are for
Wow.
me what I've learned that helped me in doing this, and that's with a lot of things right now is just to slow down in speaking and doing these photos and just in general life. I'm like always in the future. I'm always what if this, what if that, and that's great sometimes, but as a default like state of being, it's not really that great. So slowing everything down I feel like has like made things not go
Change it
faster,
for you.
but smoother.
Right, smoother, and you get a better result. So when you started in the fast-paced world of sports photography. What lessons from capturing grit and performance have shaped you now in the work that you do with executive leaders? How does that compare to each other?
I think the major, or at least for me, what clicked for me and what I believe is I never really saw myself sort of as a coach in this type of deal and in any kind of like endeavor when you're
Capacity?
working with
Yeah,
another person.
yeah. Yeah.
Like I just didn't think that I had coaches. I'm an athlete myself. I am a CrossFit. I train CrossFit, but I'm also in the last 4 years I've gotten a lot into jujitsu, and it's
Yeah.
something that you have to have a coach for. So a coach a long time ago told me because we had a bunch of professional athletes as well training in the gym. And he was saying like, some of these athletes, as amazing as they are, they're not coachable. And that is what is going to make or break them. They have the hard work, the talent, and they got the drive to do everything, but they're not coachable. It just kind of like didn't set it. It's over the time, I kind of like always came back to that and
Yeah.
it made me think how I'm doing this. It's not as black and white, like, oh, this person's not coachable. I can't do anything. But
Right.
a lot of people
There's
come
such a
in not
spectrum.
expecting that. So,
Right.
yeah. So like I was saying, there's a whole technical aspect to it. And that, really doesn't have much to do with the subject, but the interaction and the coaching, as I would say, to get all these looks and these poses right to convey what we're talking about, that I think is coaching basically,
That's what makes it. Yeah.
the same for me. Like I've stepped in front of other headshot photographers since doing all this myself. And even though I know how I would coach myself, like maybe I could get a good self portrait. But if I have another photographer giving me the things that I need to do, I just go, all right, this is who I trust this person. This is the expert. I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to do what they say. And that's what I do when I do jujitsu and when I train CrossFit. I just listen to the coach, you know? And
Right.
I think that like thinking of myself as the coach instead of always being the athlete just sort of really it kind of made me a little easier. And it made me feel a little easier at doing this and that it's a process like athletics where it's reps. You don't just like walk into the weight room, some people do, and just throw weight on and go. You got to have to like build up to it. So that's how
Right.
I do it is we're not just like, I'm not going to throw every single thing at you and go, okay, go. We're
You
going to
have to
do it.
go.
You're
You
going
have
to get it. We're going to review. You're going to see it. And that's the back and forth in between where you're seeing this image build up. Once the
Yes.
client sees that and you can see it in their face, that they're being genuine. You can see their eyes light up. They like love this image. Then you're like, you know,
You're
good
hitting
to go. You're
go. Got
cooking,
your home run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from then
Wow.
on, all the coaching is just easier because now you guys have kind of clicked and they trust you because they've seen it. It's not, they've seen your other work, but now they see you
They see
building a
them.
look.
Yeah.
So,
For them. Yes. That's wonderful. So you alluded to this a little bit earlier that a lot of us face that anxiety when it comes to getting in front of the camera. What mindset shifts do you coach to help people through on their own presence when they're in that spotlight? For example, like what are some of the main things that you find yourself repeatedly doing? Like a lot of folks mindset wise coming into that shoot are struggling with.
well, I do try to tell them all the things that I told you, like about, I've gone through this myself a bunch of times. So even though I'm the photographer, I do know,
You
and
have
just
the
as a
same
regularly
nervousness.
anxious person, like I kind of
Yeah.
know those nerves. And I, first, I always tell them I have that right now too. So even though like you are getting photographed, am performing, I have to do what
So I'm
I
nervous
am trained
about
to
making
do.
sure that I get this correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of I don't know, I feel like maybe for most people that sort of breaks the ice a little. It definitely, I almost find if I've never met the person before, it's almost a little easier of an interaction. And
'Cause you're not
I'm
so
not
much
sure
a
why,
pressure
but
on the yeah, I think it's a
I guess
psychology of like, yeah, I got it.
so for me that I'm kind of looking forward to that. But that I guess I start off like that. But like I said before, I don't expect someone to just trust me by what I say, or even it helps if they've seen an image or of mine
Some
and
of your
or
work
someone has
already.
recommended. Yeah, and then
Yeah,
it's a little easier. But I think no matter what, unless we've worked together before or you're a model or something like that, like I'd say people are genuinely like a little anxious going into getting their picture taken.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
so, like, I think the trust between us comes from the slow build of the image, and then, like I said, once we're kind of, it's a difference. The difference after they have like been convinced by seeing this build up to a spot, then it almost they seem to shift, and like now they trust what we're doing. So I also have a little more leeway to take a little more chances and work on
Right.
after we've nailed the images that you have to get, we can get a little creative and take some more risks. But now they've seen like they're already going to get something they already love. Now it's kind of all gravy.
I love it, man. So, you've worked with those high stakes professionals who can't afford to appear uncertain in anything they do. What role does discipline over motivation play in building that kind of confidence that, those high stake professionals need?
Well, for me, I've tried to be as disciplined in just my practice of how I treat them from the second we have the first interaction, whether it's on the phone or in email. I guess I'm just always trying to be, you know, available. I want to be able to answer any kind of questions. Like if we haven't even booked, I don't care. Call me and we'll talk. I don't need to have you booked and paid to talk about potentially working together or your concerns.
Right.
So I
Right.
always want to know if anyone has some kind of concerns. Like, some
Love
people,
it.
one of the things I was learning how to do and deal with in headshots is like some people don't. I don't know if you want to call it like do they call it a lazy eye or an eye that just doesn't line up?
No, I have one. I have a lazy eye,
It's very
and it
common and
only
a lot.
you only see it in photos.
Well, so that's, some people have concerns like that and I would show them, but there's a way to deal with that when you're taking a photo to make someone look
Yeah.
the best that they can. There's a way,
Right.
look, we have to kind of start off all agreeing like we're not perfect and none of us we're not models, and even models need
Exactly.
retouching and models don't
Yes.
have the best perfect skin. Like, so if we start off thinking like that, I think it just brings the heat down a
Brings the
little and
pressure
it's like a
down.
little more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But for me, the discipline is that I want to treat everybody and give them my full attention on any concern that they have. If, I have a formula that I work off of. It's not, 100% set in stone. But like I said before, I always tell people like, we're going to build up to this image. And once you see it, like I said, like they will relax a little more, trust me. And then we can kind of take chances and do other things. But the discipline is me working my formula, making sure
Mhm.
their concerns are either alleviated or dealt with, or, like I
Right.
said, like showing somebody that like if they're not happy with, they have, I don't know, like a crooked nose, right? Like nobody's perfectly symmetrical.
Right.
I'll show them how we deal with that and it looks a lot better. And if that's a concern, I want to know about it. So my discipline would be to like make sure I can take care of any concern that they have, but then I have to be disciplined enough to follow my formula because that will get them where they need to be.
The
So
results
it's a little,
that you want. Yeah.
yeah. So it's a little my own discipline, but also that sort of carries over to them as well. So that's sort of how
Right.
I think about it.
Yeah, you don't wanna switch off the success formula you created in efforts to make them feel comfortable, because in the long run, you're looking at it's not gonna produce results, and what they're here for as a client is this certain result, and this is how you get to the results based on the formula that you have created. So that makes absolute sense for me. So I have a question. A lot of our listeners and viewers, the podcast, we're in the thought leadership space. We're building brands, a lot of entrepreneurs where we're all going to need that headshot about, to go along with our bio for our speaking profile, for our coaching website. What are some of the mindset hacks coming into creating and building your brand, or things that they might want to have in place as they approach getting photos taken for their brand?
One of the, well, I guess like the major point that I am trying to get across to clients and to myself too is how important this headshot is as a business
Right.
asset. It's not
Right.
just like a box to check. And I know that it is a box to check,
Right.
but I can't think off the top of my head any online business where you would go to book them or research them and they had no images. Like I'm trying to think of like what like with the way things are, like I don't think you would ever want to have, it's like just nothing about your business online. I find that to be a red flag. And not that there's something like nefarious, but like if I'm trying to do business with a certain company and I'm looking to get a quote on, and I've worked in the industrial water industry and marketing. So my background, that's the example I would use is like, if I'm going to get a quote on some equipment and it's, $25,000, $50,000 for my facility. And like
Right.
I go to the website and there's, it's a Yahoo GeoCities website from like 1996. There's no headshots or
Red
there's like a
flag.
bad iPhone, like photo, like
Right.
I think more than likely those are red flags. I don't think that those are bad. Like maybe it's not, But when I go to the other company and it's a nice website, you can tell it's not just stock images. You go
Mm.
to their, see who they are, and they have some of the heads of the team listed. I don't know.
Yes,
They all look the same. It's a different, sometimes it's hard if it's just like you're not having a conversation with anybody. You just move on because you don't think that maybe is the right fit, and maybe you don't know it. But I think that is a huge contribution to people missing out on things and losing money possibly online because of that. And I know I was surprised to find out about these like big companies that don't have any kind of cohesion for their pictures.
for
So everybody's
difference.
looks different, or they don't
Everybody's doing their own thing.
generally really care about it. So I don't know. To me, I think it's a red flag. And I think that's why you should have something that represents who you are. So, you could have a great headshot, but it's like 10 years old. That's kind of weird
Mm.
when I go to meet you or see you and it's like we all age, right? Like, so
And
that's
you're like
a
10
reason why these
pounds,
need to be
you're like
updated.
10 to 20 pounds different from what you were,
Yeah.
like from
And
what you are now. I don't recognize you. I can't put you with the
yeah.
image.
And it's like we all age. So, it's great. You nail this, you get this awesome headshot from 7 years ago, but like, now you're 37 and you're not
I
30.
can't
You
even
look a little
recognize
different.
you.
It's not that
Yeah.
you even look worse or bad. Some people, look pretty good as age very
Sometimes they
well,
look better,
but
but it's just not you.
it's not you. And,
Mhm,
like myself, I have a headshot. My headshot's maybe about a year old, but the
mhm.
headshot that I had before that was about 5 years old. And when I look at the two,
Okay.
it's such a different person for the
Right, even
better
though
too.
you're
So it's like you
healthy and
want to show
everything.
that.
Yes,
And,
exactly.
a lot of people work on themselves. A lot of people come in and go, yeah, well, I lost 40 pounds. Like, and I'm like, you got to get a new pic. Like, you look better.
Yeah.
You look awesome. Like, you got to get a new
Yes,
thing. If I could do it, I would force everybody to do it like every year or 6 months. But
I agree.
some people go 4 or 5 years, and I think that's kind of odd. So, similarly, like what I was saying, that example about buying the equipment from a company, a lot of these companies they're like leaders in the field. And then you go and see that like the CEO doesn't even have a LinkedIn headshot. Well,
Crazy.
LinkedIn, like 10 or 15 years ago, even though it was around, it wasn't really as important, I feel like, as it is now. And in business, I feel like everybody is there. If, especially some of these like these law firms in New York City and around the country, you know, people are going on there to research an attorney before they have a matter with them,
Before
like,
they decide who they wanna book,
so,
unless someone
you're an
recommends. Yeah,
attorney, you're charging $1,000 an hour and you have like, your buddies took a photo with you with an iPhone and if you tell it's like at a bar, I don't know. It's just like not the look I would want to.
that's just yeah, that's like sometimes I get some of those photos. I'm like, you could just take like, you take send me a photo of you in a bar with your friends, and I'm like, you kinda cropped yourself out a little bit, but we can see everything and then your face. I'm like, I can't put this on a podcast hardcover, like,
Yeah.
just even
It's,
take a better like, just put on lights and or go stand outside and take just let's get make sure we have your head that would be better than this. So a lot of times I think we underestimated how important it is that capturing those images and aligning it in a space that tells a story about who you are and what you do is so transformational to any type of business person, whether you're working in a corporate scenario or you're working building a business or a brand for yourself. Having those rights photos is so important. And it's going to start with who's taking it for you and how they're helping you along that process of dealing with your own fear, your own anxiety, and them knowing, like, I can listen to you and I know you know what you're going to get after that photo's taken because you have a formula. You have you have a short step that will get you there, right? So, man, I think that's phenomenal. Go ahead.
the example that I would give is that I was doing an update of a headshot for a client who had been a general counsel for a very large insurance company nationally and based in New York City. And
Yeah.
she has gone off on her own and they were forming, I think with a couple other associates. They were forming their own company to do some real estate deals. And it was her, and she had, I think, two or three other partners. And when she came in, I had known her before that, but she was telling me about the new venture and how, they were just getting started. They're forming the company. And I guess, she felt a little pushed aside, and kind of like these three other gentlemen were kind of like, she felt a little steamrolled. I think she
Mm,
was the majority of the money in the venture. And she was saying how basically they were at an impasse as to, who has 49% and who has 51%. And she wanted the 51 and was getting kind of pushed around. And we did a shoot, and we were looking at some of the images. And like I was saying before, all of a sudden she was flipping through, and the makeup artist was kind of giggling because she looked over and could see the client kind of like smiling at looking at her own image. And she felt a little, like, I don't know, giggly about it. And she said, this is the one. And she's like, I'm going to walk in there and be like 51% guys. And it was because she saw this image and she
she
looked
had
at it.
the confidence.
Her
Yeah.
confidence just came up, and she was like, wait, why am I not going for exactly what I want? And just, I'd like to think, I kind of saw that come over her face, and then I heard her say that.
Yeah.
So I like to think like that's why I think it's a very important business asset. And you don't really know at the time, but let's say she went the other way. Okay. And you're like, all right, no big
Exactly.
deal. What's 49%? It's 2% to 51. But you know what? If they do a $40 million deal, that 2% or 1% is huge. It's a huge amount of money. If you
It's
miss,
yeah.
like you could miss a deal that you don't even know about because of like all the things I said before, someone being like, I don't know, something's weird, something's off. But then you have that,
Of
that shot where you're like sharp, confident, present, and like not scary looking. Someone wants to walk up to you and approach you. That's kind of what I'm going for. And that's the like most recent example that I can give of like the business asset and the confidence and how important it is. And it seems kind of dumb. We're talking about someone taking a picture, but that's how powerful it is.
it is. That's an important aspect. Wow, one of the pillars. So I'm excited to do Flip the Script with you. This is one of my favorite parts of the show. Flip the Script, James. Tell us about a time you had to flip the script in your own journey. What was the mindset shift that helped you turn things around? What did that experience teach you about confidence outside the studio?
So I think I was thinking about this, and I was also kind of what I was thinking kind of clicked in a bunch of different ways. But part of it was one of the shorts of yours I saw. I watched it over and over again because it really spoke to me. And because of this, I would say, is always thought I was stuck where I was previously to this profession,
Mm,
which was the marketing and sale. I did some sales marketing, and I had a decent job, and the effort that I had to put in for what I got paid was not that much. So
that's
like,
right.
but it was a part. I'm trying to get it exactly sort of close to what you were saying, is that I didn't realize the price I was paying like inside for
Yes.
trading that. And I just thought like, I have to do this. I have to get here. I have to have X amount of dollars. I can't do it before I do this. And those are
Right.
definitely important things to think about.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
the overall theme was not yet when this happens or someday, but I need this first. And it reminded me a long time ago of my mom told me when I was asking her advice when I was in my like mid 20s. I was getting married and we wanted to buy a house. And I was like, but it's just, we don't have this. I'm like, I don't know. Should we just wait and do it then? And she's like, it's never going to be a good time. She's like, it's the same thing as when people talk about having kids. It's like you can't wait for the perfect time. And
Exactly.
unfortunately, like for many years, I thought that. And now having been out of that and have some space on it for almost a year now, where I've been just doing this full time,
Yeah.
I'm just so much lighter. I'm just so much happier. And I just wish that I don't want to have that as a regret, but I do sort of wish that I
You
realized
done it
that
earlier.
sooner, because even now, like, it's very fresh and I love doing this and I love spending my whole day talking about photography, doing photography. It's so much more satisfying. And I didn't think I'd be able to be that happy while I'm making less money. And
Wow.
it's like, I know money's important. I don't want to say, like, I don't want to be one of those people who's
You're
like,
not
money is not
downplaying that
important.
I
It's
don't
not,
really need
it's
money.
important,
Yeah, it's
but it's
big,
not,
one of the
I
biggest
put too much.
currencies.
Exactly. But I didn't realize that, like, I had all my happiness based on down the road and, a certain amount of money and all that. And I didn't realize that those things, like, really don't make you that happy. So, like, I still find it odd that I don't get up and, like, rush to get out the door and go to an office and, like, and my day is a lot longer than it used to be, and it's spread out, and but I get to do more things and I get to kind of concentrate on the things that are important. So to
Right.
me, it's not, I don't feel like I thought I was going to feel. I thought I was going to feel like down in the dumps, depressed, and it's quite the opposite. It's like helped some of
You
those
feel
issues that I've had before.
liberated, right?
So,
Man.
saying all that, I have to keep that in mind because my default for all those years is to think all the other things. So it's not like this happens and it's all in the past. It's like an everyday thing to work on that. So part of why I liked all the content that you put out is because it's me. It's all mindset for me. And I didn't realize how
Yes.
powerful that is. And I thought it was just a thing that people just like thought about. But now I found out it's like what I got to spend a lot of my time on, like, in order for all the other things to happen and fall in
Yes, and
place.
the reason you are where you are, it's because you did do a lot of mindset work and rethinking and reimagining your entire existence at times, I would say, especially as an entrepreneur, it's not there's no one and done, "Oh, click this and then that."
Yeah.
There's all this the road is so crooked and the only thing you really have is really what I call passion, purpose, and peace. Why? Because you already have the big purpose, the big why, you know what you wanna do and why you wanna do it, and then you're lit with the passion to see it happen, and the peace comes from not all the stuff you get to do even though you're practicing gratitude is knowing that you have such clarity and you know where you want to land and you stay consistent in that path. And a lot of us underestimate our levels of success because we're measuring it against I want to go I want to have, make have $20,000 months or whatever in my business. And that's wonderful. You should want those things. But what I'm saying is, remember just a year ago, you had this corporate job that burned you out mentally, emotionally, and you did make money, but you weren't happy. You weren't at peace. Get happiness. Happiness is overrated. You weren't at peace with yourself because I think happiness is a byproduct of peace. But even when things are so uncertain, you still have peace because you're actually doing what you feel called to do in this season of your life. And so even as I talk about the entrepreneurial journey, a lot of entrepreneurs after they leave their 9 to 5 and they've had maybe even 10, 15 years of success, they don't wanna do that anymore, and they get hung like, "Okay, so if I just don't do my coaching anymore, people are gonna think, well, why did you do it? Maybe you didn't like it as much?" No, it just means this season and you expressing your purpose and what you're passionate about is not coaching, and that's okay. If it's bird watching or it is going to work for someone that has a baker shop or work as a barista, do that. Just make sure that your soul is at peace and at rest. And when you lay back, I tell people forget going to bed at night because a lot of times I say a lot of things happen when we go, because a lot of times people in this world now, we just kind of lay down and we fall asleep and we don't remember sometimes when we fell asleep. So I used to say
Yeah.
when you go to bed at night, but now I say when you're in the toilet, in the bathroom by
Well,
yourself.
anywhere.
It, like for me, that's like everybody has to go to the bathroom, so you don't get an excuse to say, "Well, the kids don't let me." I'm like, I know they don't, but you lock them out. When you're sitting there, who are you, and are you feeling a sense of, you know what, things are really tough right now and there's so many challenges, but I love what I do. I love who I am and I love where I do it and I love who I get to do it with. And no matter how hard this gets, I'm going to see it through until I have my 20,000 months. Right? And so to me, that's what leads up to how I believe we should wanna think about what success is for us. So my question for you, James, is what does success mean to you now after everything that you've pivoted through and created this business for yourself that you're so passionate about?
Success, I think, would for me would be making a living doing the things that I love, like that are like photography. I do video as well, and I'm a licensed drone pilot. So getting
What?
to fly my drone and get paid, no matter how small or large of an amount it is, I look around and I'm like, this is like exactly kind of what I wanted. Like I am flying a drone in Brooklyn to film people playing tennis, and it's like, I'm like, I can't believe
Right.
I'm getting paid for this,
Paid to do this.
like doing the headshots, like seeing the people's reaction to that. I'm like, I can't believe I get paid to do this. And like 2 weeks ago, another thing that I'm passionate about is pets and dogs. And I did a shoot with 14 different dogs, and some of the money we
Wow.
gave to charity. And it's like, I came out of that and it was like 7 hours went, like it was like 10 minutes and I was exhausted. And I came
Wow.
home and, I'm like editing these photos and I'm like, I'm like getting paid to take pictures of people's dogs. This is like the best thing ever. So to me, the success is doing that, not for getting paid, but for being able to do that to make a living no matter what the amount. That I think to me is success. I thought that was so something everybody else did. I thought it would never be me. I made up a million different excuses for it. And, I would say probably because the people that are around me in my life are why I'm doing it. Because for me, I
Yeah.
was stuck. And that is a success to me, is that doing that and being happy with whatever it is, not the dollar amount of it. So the more I
Right.
get that kind of out of my mind and I'm just like thinking about what I did and what the result of it was, that makes me happy.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And the other question I have to ask you is when it comes to the entrepreneurial journey, I know there's so many people who are either budding entrepreneurs or already in the journey. If you had to give us like three success tips that has been like maybe a guiding principle, set of guiding principles for you, what would that look like? What would you say to us?
Well, the first one I would say would be don't wait. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for the right amount of money. The thing as I get older, and I don't want to sound old, is that like I start noticing the clock ticking is a little more
Mhm.
noticeable and it's
Yes.
passing quicker than it used to. So
Mhm.
for that, I would say the time is going to pass, like whether you do the thing or not. So just do it as
Mhm.
soon as you can. But that would be the first thing. The
Mhm.
second thing would be, I don't know exactly how I would put it, but for me, I would say you have to kind of question all the voices in your head. And I don't want to sound like a crazy
Whoa.
person, but
Love it.
I know other
Yes.
people have them
We
and they're
all have
not,
those voices.
yeah, a lot of them lie to you. And a lot of the time it is, you don't think so. There's a reason. And I think it kind of ties into like, we've evolved so fast that our bodies and our brains, I guess, can't, like, for me at least, my head thinks threats are these crazy things that drive me nuts and cause me to be crippled in anxiety. And
Yeah.
it's really just the case. And a lot of times I sort of sometimes I think, and another thing that'll date me is the Seinfeld reference to the character George just decides one day his life is crap and he's never done anything and nothing's turned out
Mhm.
well. And he's like, I'm just going to do the opposite of whatever I think. And I say that
Yes.
not to say like that's the hard, fast rule, but I always kind of chuckle and think about that, is that like, I kind of wonder what the motivation is to do something. So for me, hearing that voice, instead of just like listening to it and not thinking about it, I forced myself to think whether that was really the right thing, or is that
Yeah.
really what I think coming up, or is that to try and cover up some sort of insecurity or something that I'm like trying to protect myself with. So that would be the second thing. And then the third thing, I guess, would be for me, aside from not waiting and questioning some of the things in your motivations, is
Mhm.
just maybe for me, and I think maybe a lot of people, especially now, is that I'm spending a lot of time on my own, especially just being like an entrepreneur. And I think
Mhm.
the time spent around other people, either similarly doing things like you are, or, like I love hanging out with all the guys and people that I do jujitsu with. So I want to make sure that I have those people around me. Even if they're not photographers, it's very encouraging to see other people doing tough things.
Yeah,
And I think now more than ever, people need more people around them. And I think people also need to give everybody a break. Everybody's going
I
through a
agree.
lot of stuff, and you never know what someone's going through before you dismiss them.
Exactly.
For me, I know that's maybe more than one thing on the last thing, but I kind of always tie
No,
those
it was
together.
yeah, they go together and people we need those reminders. Right now, I believe in the world and the space we're in, and I believe it's because it's information. I'd say just because of information, how it's spread and how communication is occurring in this era. It's the simple things that's going to hold us over. It's
Yeah,
not to
exactly.
be the tools that we need is literally like if you're going to put if two pieces of board together, you're going to need a hammer and a nail. And so we need the hammer and nails in our toolbox of ways to think, ways to show up, ways to communicate, ways to process, and just be. Because, like you said, we hear it so many times. You never know what someone's going through. You never know what someone's going through. If it's anything more than anything, like before I allow myself to be offended by anyone, no matter the degree of the unfair, unjust, wrong thing, it's like I wonder what brought them to where they are that they felt like this is okay. And now I don't excuse their behavior, but I have compassion and I'm able not for their sake, but for me to now step away and say, you know what? They may have intended to cause me harm or whatever in confidence, let me stop them and tell them it's not okay or make sure they get the consequences. But at the same time, so I don't get stuck in my own journey, I'm able to release that sooner. I'm able to take the time to process through it. I'm able to ask for help if it's that bad, to process through it because I allow myself to think I'm looking at a situation, but it might be a little bit further than what it is. And I don't know the answer to it. But what I do know, I don't want that to be me. And I have a choice in this moment to rise above this eventually in this moment, whatever that looks like. And that's a tool. That's when you tell us, don't believe all the things in your head. Don't believe all the voices in your head because there's a whole lot of chatter. And a lot of those voices, even though it sounds like yours, it is not yours.
Yeah.
It's
And it's
coming
like,
from all the other things that you're experiencing and seeing and hearing.
Totally. And it's hard. It's weird almost when you say it out loud because I don't want to sound like a lunatic, like about voices or anything like that. But I know everybody else has that, and some people are better at dealing with it than others. But
If you don't have
I,
voices in your head, you're not alive. Because
exactly.
sometimes it's your mom's voice, sometimes it's your dad's voice, sometimes it's a teacher from elementary school, even though you're in your 40s. And
Yeah.
you're like, where did that come from? It's memory, it's stored memory, it's your unconsciousness. Because more, and that's my first guest today. He was talking about we don't understand that what we know and what's in our conscious is only 0.6% of our reality. Everything else we function in is in our unconscious, subconscious, or unconscious, and then the unknown is what I call it. He's named it something else, but it's there, and that's the operational system we're running off of. So, in order to even if you're just going off of what you're hearing and experiencing right now, you're only on 6%, and you don't need the pill from Limitless.
Exactly.
Tap
Yeah.
in.
The operating system and the firmware are pretty dated, and it doesn't update like it does now. So that's
Exactly.
it's that's I think I would 100% agree with you.
Absolutely. So, what's the next big thing for you, James, and what mindset is required to get there?
I am my the all the things that I just told you are basically all the things that I'm thinking about right now. And
Mhm.
like I said, I do have a few goals, for next year, but I've
Mhm.
found that I guess I go back and forth. I've done where I've just focused straight up on only goals, and that's the only thing I think about. And then I've also done where I've just kind of like not had a plan and just like, let's see where it goes. And
Uh-huh.
I've found kind of like my middle ground is that even though I've been doing this for a long time, I do have kind of a renewed focus on headshots and branding. And I found that the best thing to move me forward in this is to just do as much photography as possible. So,
Mm.
I will spend time on, a shoot that I'm just collaborating with this other person who might need a headshot, and we're both trying to build our portfolio up. So, when I don't have a job, I'm still going to be out doing photography in some fashion.
Love it.
I that's so I guess it's like, I have these goals. I'm not just running around blind, but my overall kind of focus is just to do photography and work on my own photography. So when I have something, I kind of treat it all the same. Like if I'm shooting, some attorney in their like, 80th floor office, which, would probably be a good amount of money. Or if I'm just doing my friend's headshot because he said, hey, I want to get back into booking some roles, I treat it the same and I put the same effort into both. And I want the outcome to be like this. I make the stakes just as high for whatever I'm doing.
Yes.
And that I feel like has brought more opportunity and kind of moved my skills forward. So right now, that's kind of like easier for me. I feel a little lighter with that as the goal, is just to
Goal in
do
this.
as much as possible. And when you're not working, to be improving. And it kind of makes everything not really feel like too much work. It just feels fun to do.
Exactly.
And like, that's what I'm supposed to be
It's
doing. So
fulfilling. Yeah.
yeah,
Perfect. Oh, I love it. Oh my goodness. Time goes by so much when you're having great
it
conversation and
does.
learning and growing. So I have to give you mindset advice to go. I know that there's something else in you to pour into our listener and viewers. I'm going to step away from the microphone and allow you the opportunity to give us an inspiring word, key lessons or takeaways that you want us to remember when it comes to showing up with confidence, whether we're in front of the camera or in our everyday life and leadership. Here you go, James. I'm going to step away.
All right. So all the confidence, I want you to have the best picture that you've ever had. I want you to have a picture that shows the role that you have before anybody even knows that. I want people to see your picture and be like, that is a pioneer of this industry, or this is somebody that I want to work with. And I believe that that can be achieved through the method I shoot headshots, which is to build up to that look. And in order to help everybody with that, I wanted to see if it would be okay to tell your listeners that I put a couple of documents together that I think can help, and I want people to have them. So if you would like to level up your shot, I created the headshot ROI kit, and it is a very brief document, one page, that lays out the ROI of a good headshot and the potential negative ROI of like a poor or no headshot in business. And along with that, I have a men's and women's, like kind of like a style guide to prepping for your shoot. And I'd love to give that to all your listeners. So if you want that, please DM me the word confidence on Instagram. And my Instagram is at James Severio Photog. And that resource, I think, will help a lot of people who may be on the fence, and some of the people who are maybe ready to get their headshot, but they're worried maybe about what they need to do before. So I kind of just created those resources for everybody. And I would really love to give them out to everybody, and especially to your listeners, as a thank you. And I just really appreciate the time that we spent on this call.
Wow, that's going to be so beneficial. I've taken a few headshots, not a lot, and I don't like any of them. So I told James before we even got on here, Disruptors, that when I get to New York on my next trip, I don't know, I think it's going to be early 2025. I don't have any plans to get out there before the end of the year, but I'm going to arrange to do what I go there to do, and then also get something done with James so that I can probably in the first time in my life have a headshot that I actually like and feel like it's truly me. So I no shame on any of the photographers, because a lot of those headshots I probably even took myself. I might have had 3 of them done professionally and I don't like any of them. So
Well,
connect
I'll
with
be waiting for
James.
your call.
Yes, I'm gonna make sure I arrange that at a time that I make sure I can get it done, because I remember one of my friends in New York, about maybe it's almost 10 years already. She was arranging for me to get a photo shoot done in New York, and I wanted to do like 3 different. I wanted to do Indian attire, Afrocentric attire, and then just my regular business attire. But I really need that headshot. And like you said, you really need to take it every year. And I started doing that and I see the difference. I love seeing me evolve. There are times I was more heavier, there's times I'm more fit. There's also just times I'm tired because I was not resting enough. I was just going. And now that I'm like in a place where I feel like no matter what, I am very much taking care of myself. I'm the priority. If it's going to be, it's up to me. So if I'm going to do it, I've got to show up at the best self. I like how I look better in photos. So it's time for me to start getting headshots that just has rewritten the story.
You're ready. Let's do it.
Yeah. So thank you, James, so much. To connect with him wherever you're listening or watching this episode, we're also going to put his website in the description. It's James Severa Photo. And follow him on Instagram, DM him, get that freebie. I'm going to DM him and get my freebie after I'm done recording these episodes. It's at James Severa Photog. And we'll also have the links again, like I said, in the description wherever you're listening or watching this. Disruptors, James, thank you again for helping us to understand that there is a thought behind our brand and the photos that we choose to use in our brand, and that there are professionals that are ready to help us shine and feel and look the best so we can translate the message we want to the world. You've definitely helped me take my mindset to another level on the importance of making sure I have those perfect, I wouldn't say perfect shots, but the right shots for me.
Exactly. Thank you so much. This has been just wonderful. It's really been great. And it was great to meet you.
You as well. And I'm looking forward to staying in touch. Disruptors, we will see you on the next one. Keep mastering your mindset. Think, speak, do, become, and we'll see you soon. Bye now.
Bye. Thank you.